All right. So we come to the. I think all of you, already sighing for relief, right? Because I was about to say we come to the end of the lecture. At the same time, I'm sure many of you have started understanding creativity in a different way. Some of you may have already looked at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and asked yourself what you want to do. I'm sure many of you have spoken to your parents and friends and relatives and said, "Can I have some problems, please?" Some of you who probably thought that other people were creative have started to understand that every one of us is creative. And a lot of things are changing. You also have understood that there is a process for creativity, that creativity is a journey. So a lot of things have happened, right? Even though we learn continuously, we did learn some important, powerful principles. We learned not to forget that we have great skills like imagination and curiosity. So we are learning about ourselves in a way. This whole session has been a self-awareness program where we are actually learning about ourselves. So in that context, of course, it's important for us to learn some attitudes for creativity. What is the meaning of an attitude? I'm sure you must have heard this word several times, but you may not have had the opportunity to actually discuss the meaning of attitude. Attitude, to me, means it's a mental frame for looking at something. So I may have a very good attitude for speaking to people, but I may not have a great attitude for working hard. Right? So how I look at something could be attitude. What is it that I need to be creative is what we are looking at. As you can see on the slide, the first attitude is willingness to be creative. I think we already discussed it briefly before. It's not, creativity is all about wanting to be creative. Creativity has nothing to do with ideation, the beginning, right? Right in the beginning, if there is a problem, are you the first person to put up your hand and say, "I want to solve that problem"? That's called willingness. If you're not, you will see a lot of people amongst your friends and relatives who say, no, I don't want to be creative. All this creativity is not for me. Just tell me how I should solve it and I will solve it. Which is a crazy way of looking at life, right? Because our problems are our problems. We are not going to be dependent on other people to solve our problems. And if we don't solve problems, how will we practice solving problems? And if we don't practice solving problems, how will we know whether we can solve problems or not? Because whether you like it or not, you will have to have problems. So willingness means, oh, by the way, I hope you guys have opened your notebooks and it's getting full, okay? Because no way you should just listen to me and write. I need you to write your own opinions on creativity, discuss creativity openly, read books on creativity. Don't just stop with one lecture on creativity. So willingness means, in your own words, what would it be? For me, willingness means wanting to be creative, the desire to be creative. One important attitude. And you will find all creative people, like we're going to discuss Mahatma Gandhi, Ramanujan, all of them were wanting to be creative. Look at this very course, right? Like I said in the beginning, I was thinking about a lot of times whether or not I should do a course online without seeing people. But I said, no, I want to be creative in the way I want to do it. I don't know whether I have succeeded or not. That's not the point. Willingness to fail. This is a great attitude, right? Because we think that there are certain things that we should not fail in. I can understand where that comes from. People don't like failure and all that. But creativity is not an exam. You may not want to fail in an exam, and it's perfectly understandable. But creativity and exams don't go together. Willingness to fail means that, for instance, go back to the process. What did you learn in the process? That you take a large problem and you have small problems and you choose one of those problems for redefine. What if you chose the wrong problems to solve? Instead of saying, I want my children to fall in love with English, So let's assume that was the wrong problem to solve. What my children really want is to read English. So I have failed in my creative effort, right? Because they don't want to fall in love with English. So willingness to fail can happen in any one of those processes. I can choose the wrong idea. Instead of saying send them to England, maybe the better idea was to put them up in a family that speaks English in India. So willingness to implement, right? Failure to implement. The implementation may be all wrong. There are some great ideas in the world, right, that have ended up in bad implementation. So failure in creativity can happen in several ways. What we are asking is, are we willing to fail? And don't think that all creative effort must end in success. It's not true. It need not end in success. Willingness to be wrong. Remember we said look for other people's perspective? So creativity is about willingness to be wrong. Saying, yeah, I tried it, but I'm wrong. What is your view? And pick up that view. Creativity is also about being patient with your solution. You cannot expect something to happen overnight. No. There has to be a delay. In systems thinking, we call it delay. Since all of you have learned systems thinking, we call it a delay between the problem and the solution. That delay is important. Many times you have to push aside the problem and say, let me think about it. And while walking, while eating, the problem will keep coming back. And then you look at something, you get a good idea. Willingness to tolerate delay, right? So these are the attitudes for creativity. This is what we said, right? So automatically when you say willingness to be wrong, you automatically have willingness to see other perspectives. Willingness to iterate. It's very important. Anyone? If you're writing it down, what is the meaning of willingness to iterate? What can you iterate in? Iterate means going from one step to the other. So in creativity, where can iterate happen? In the process. So you can start with define the problem. Then you go to, let's say you go up to look for ideas. And then you find that the ideas are not coming to you. You can go back to looking for problems and you can redefine. Suppose you are up the implementation stage, but you're not able to implement. You go back to the ideation portion and find out which idea was easy to implement. So you keep iterating. You cannot say, no, I finished step 1. Has to be step 2. Has to be step 3. It doesn't happen like that. I wish it was. It's not true. So willingness to iterate is willingness to go from step to step, willingness to be patient, willingness to fail, willingness to see other people's perspectives, willingness to be wrong. So many attitudes for creativity and perseverance. Many of us lack perseverance. Willingness to read about creativity, about the problem. Saying, no, there is something missing in my gap. So increasing curiosity, look at this beauty that's happening and all in your mind, okay? Of course, creativity is also about collaboration and all that. And finally, like we have said several times before, willingness to fall in love with problems. Are you okay to solve, or are you okay to fall in love with the problem? So these are the attitudes for creativity. Let me just finish this lecture by talking about 3 people I'm completely awed by in creativity. Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh was a Dutch painter. Read about him. There's a brilliant book called Lust for Life. Of course, it's a fictional book, but most of it is true. It's a terrific book. When I read the book, I think I was in college at that time. I haven't stopped reading it several times. I've got the book. It's just brilliant about what I learned about creativity. Okay, Vincent van Gogh, just to set the context, was a Dutch painter, and he did not start off as a painter, but then his brother Theo van Gogh encouraged him to do painting because apparently he was very good at it. And he look at this painting, for instance. This is a self-portrait by Vincent van Gogh, and I can't even describe. He was, I don't know whether I'll justify Vincent van Gogh's love for painting by saying he was passionate about painting. Passionate is a very weak word sometimes. There was nothing else Vincent van Gogh want to do. Maybe that's a good way to put it, except paint. And painting. You won't believe it. He didn't even earn one single, whatever the Dutch system is. He didn't even earn one rupee or whatever from his painting. But it didn't deter him. His brother was supporting him. And he used to keep painting all the time. Such was his passion for painting. At one point of time, he painted one of those great paintings called the sunflower. Just look at pictures of the sunflower. I mean, it's not even possible for someone to do that sort of work. Of course, very sadly, Vincent van Gogh died very young. I don't want to spoil the suspense of his life, so I'm encouraging you to read something about Vincent van Gogh. And the beauty is that he didn't sell one painting. It was not as if he depended on painting. For him, painting was not about livelihood. Painting was something that he had to do morning to night. That was the sort of creative effort he put in. Of course, today, if you have a Vincent van Gogh, then you can probably remain for the next 10 generations of your family. You can be very, very comfortable. That's how expensive Vincent van Gogh painting is. One of the big things that I did I have a bucket list of things I want to do. One of the things that I did was I had to go to Amsterdam for some official work, and I went to the museum. I was so inspired by looking at the museum. So check out Vincent van Gogh to be inspired by creativity. To inspired for creativity. I don't even have to tell you the wonderful creativity of Mahatma Gandhi. You see, you look at everything that Gandhi did, okay? You look at everything he did in his life, and you will find nuggets of creativity. The way he thought about things, the way he thought about Satyagraha itself, the way he thought about the Salt March. Everything, there was a creative, look at the clothes that he wore, the appearance, the talk, everything about Mahatma Gandhi was creative. And so beautifully, such a purpose-led life, right? He knew that he needed creativity to get the people behind him. Again, I don't want to spoil the fun. I want you to read Mahatma Gandhi from a creativity point of view, and you will find nuggets of gold in the thinking process. And he's a great person. He's a great person to take inspiration from. And finally, one of my role models, Ramanujan, who again I think I've already spoken briefly about him in the conflict management portion. Again, extremely creative person, very creative to think about. Writing a letter to Hardy itself was very creative. Imagine, right? How many of us will think of writing a letter to Hardy? Being, especially from the background that he was in, the circumstances that he was in, poverty, having to go for a job, in spite of that, pursuing his passion, maths all the time, putting them all in one book neatly. Even that requires creativity, right? Organizing stuff requires a lot of creativity. And then getting this bright idea to actually, of course, he was also advised by his mentors, and writing to Harvey that, look at this letter itself, is a great example. So therefore, I'm saying don't diss creativity at all, right? Everything is creative. Look at this letter itself, right? Look at the letter itself is very creative. Starts with a very nice introduction. Dear sir, I beg to introduce myself to you. A letter that changed his entire life. How many of us are willing to write such letters? Oh, by the way, I'm telling you to, if you want to do something in life, just go ahead and do it. For instance, look at this letter. Right? And I think it was 1912, if I'm not mistaken, when he wrote this letter. He was about 21, 22 years old. I beg to introduce myself, and he's writing to an Englishman named Hardy, who was a very eminent professor of mathematics. I beg to introduce myself to you as a clerk in the accounts department at the Port Trust. And then he goes on. So now he has to very quickly put all his work into one line, because people are not going to have patience to read. Therefore, when you write your letters, also think about how much of creativity you have to use in that letter so that you make people read it. The purpose of your letter should be, I want people to read my letter. And then he goes on to say, look at third paragraph, right? So I found an expression, look at that line. I have found an expression which very nearly approximates to the real result, error being legible. I would request you to go through the enclosed papers. Look at, so now if Hardy, the mathematician, reads it, surely he'll want to read the big bundle of papers to Ramanujan and Senthil, which is what Ramanujan wants Hardy to do. Of course, once Hardy reads them, he cannot stop reading it. He calls his assistant. He says, this man has already solved all the problems that we are trying to solve. Then he sends for Ramanujan. And it's I keep telling our students in college, saying that you don't have to wait for a campus interview. If you are like Ramanujan, like the corporates will come to look for you rather than you going to the corporates. So you must do such work in your life that you just do the work and the work speaks for you. And then he sends someone to India to take Ramanujan back to England. And there, of course, the rest is history. He does some tremendous amount of work. So that is creativity for you. We learned what is creativity. We learned that every one of us is creative. We learned the definition of creativity. I hope you're writing your definition now. I don't know what, but I'm very interested in reading your definitions. We learned the creativity journey from problem to solution. We learned the process for creativity, define the problem, look for information, redefine the problem, look for ideas, shape the ideas, and evaluate your ideas and implement your ideas. We looked for tools for creativity, looking for problems, looking for ideas, imagination, curiosity. And we looked at attitudes for creativity, the willingness to be creative. I know we have spent about 90, 100 minutes, but this is enough for us right now. Right now, we have started to understand what is creativity. The most important line I want to leave you with is that creativity is a deliberate activity. Remember that word deliberate. D-E-L-I-B-E-R-A-T-E. Deliberate. Deliberate means that I am doing creativity on purpose. Somebody asks me, Shiva, what are you doing? I am being creative. Learn to say that. I am being creative means I am starting with step 1, I am going up to step 7. And you can define what step you are in at each step of the way. I am in the ideation stage. I am in the implementation stage. I am in the information collecting stage. I am in the evaluating stage. I am in the defining stage. Look at the beauty of creativity now. So creativity is not something that you are walking and suddenly one idea comes and hits your head. No. Creativity is saying, I can solve a problem with dedication, discipline, and deliberateness. So when we meet for the live sessions, we will talk some more. But I'm hoping that every one of you in this room, every one of you listening to this is starting to believe in their own creativity. So read a lot of books on creativity. Write to me if you have any doubts. And I'm not saying I'll solve all the problems, but it'll be nice to have a forum where we all discuss and understand creativity and take our knowledge a little one step further. Right? Thank you.